Today I'm going to tell you a truth about Charlie Kirk that he has never spoken about. After hearing this story, all your thoughts about him might change. What you'll learn in the last 10 seconds will truly shock you. Charlie Kirk. What comes to mind when you hear this name? A successful conservative leader influencing millions, or a controversial figure constantly criticized by media? What if I told you Charlie Kirk isn't the person you think he is? What if his entire life, career, even personality is built on a lie? This isn't conspiracy theory. This is truth Charlie Kirk himself didn't know for years. But before we dive into this shocking story, if you want to hear more untold stories like this, make sure to subscribe to Kirk Unfiltered and hit that like button. We bring you the stories they don't want you to hear, and your support helps us continue this important work. Cold winter evening, 2019, Arizona unusually cold, as if nature preparing for what would happen. Charlie Kirk working alone in Turning Point USA's Phoenix office. From his 12th floor office, he watched Phoenix's sparkling view. Outside snowing, city shrouded in silence, streets empty, Charlie especially tired. Day spent with podcasts, interviews, social media strategies. Turning Point growing rapidly, bringing more responsibilities. Photos on his desk, family memories, event photos, conservative figures, everything familiar, but that night felt different. An email that night would become unexpected turning point. Message beginning process where Charlie would question everything about who he was. To understand this story, you need to know who Charlie is. When Charlie founded Turning Point USA at 18, no one predicted his influence on American politics. 2012, Obama's second term, Charlie thought country going wrong direction. After Wheeling High School, while peers went university, he chose different path. Briefly attended Harper College, but real passion was politics. Finding this fascinating? Drop a comment below. Ever noticed anything strange about Charlie Kirk? Your insights help shape our investigations at Kirk Unfiltered. Typical middle-class family. Father Robert, architect, mother ran daycare. Ordinary childhood in Illinois suburbs. Or so he thought. But accident at 16 changed his life completely. Motorcycle accident, serious head blow, weeks in hospital, significant personality changes followed. That night in his office, there was important truth he didn't know about that accident. Charlie always outspoken, never hesitated defending conservative values. Campus speeches influenced thousands toward conservative thinking. Media constantly targeted him. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, all criticized differently. Charlie continued despite everything. That evening, checking emails, hundreds daily, support, criticism, invitations, interview requests. Anonymous email caught his eye. Truthseeker 2019 at protonmail.com. Subject: You must know the truth. Used to conspiracy theories, threats. This different? Content short but disturbing. Charlie, things about you that you don't know. Very important. Want truth? Come Old Lincoln Library tomorrow 9 p.m. alone. Don't tell anyone. Most important decision of your life. A friend. Everything in Charlie's life began changing. Restless at home, kept thinking about message, who sent it, why mysterious, what truth. Next day couldn't focus. Morning workout, thinking about email, office, team working campaigns, content strategies. Usually loved this energy, today different. 10 a.m. meeting, campus strategies, mind elsewhere. Charlie, Stanford event thoughts? Asked Mike. Silent. Sorry, what? Not typical. Yeah, always focused. Lunch, reread email. You must know the truth. What mean? Sarah knocked. Podcast recording ready? Everything okay with me? Feel different. Seem distracted. Rest. Podcast terrible. Searching words, couldn't think. Producer. Cut repeatedly. Evening. Donor Bill Henderson. Not yourself today. Never seen you distracted. Something wrong? Tired, busy week. Life hits unexpectedly. Make right decisions. Strange words as if Henderson knew. 8 p.m. decision time. Erica watching TV. Late meeting tonight. This hour, important donor, guilty lying. 8:30 p.m., final decision, going. Charlie's hands were trembling as he got into his Mercedes. The inside of his luxury car was clean and perfectly organized as always, but tonight everything felt completely different and ominous. He entered the Lincoln Library address into his GPS navigation system and set off into the dark Phoenix night. Phoenix's nighttime view flowed past his car window like a movie scene. City lights twinkled, neon signs glowed brightly, 24-hour restaurants and businesses stayed open. Normally, this familiar view would relax and comfort him, but now everything seemed threatening and dangerous. A talk show was playing on the radio. Ironically, his own name came up in the discussion. In Charlie Kirk's recent speech about the future of the young conservative movement, Charlie immediately turned off the radio. He didn't want to hear his own voice tonight. Various scenarios kept running through his head during the drive. What if this was really dangerous? What if it was some kind of elaborate ambush or trap? But on the other hand, what if there really was critically important information waiting for him, and he missed this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? He checked his phone in his pocket nervously. He had an emergency number ready to call if needed, but how could he possibly explain this bizarre situation to the police? Should he say, "Someone anonymous offered me a secret meeting about mysterious information"? Lincoln Library was located in the old, deteriorating part of Phoenix, about 25 minutes from downtown. Charlie had only been there a few times as a child with his family. Back then, it was a lively, bustling place full of activity. Children would read books enthusiastically. Elderly people would browse newspapers and magazines. But now it was completely different and almost unrecognizable. The streets around the building were almost entirely empty and desolate. Only a few street lamps were still working. Most were broken or had burned out long ago. The once beautiful old neighborhood now looked abandoned, forgotten, and deeply sad. Charlie parked his car on a nearby side street, not on the main road. As a security precaution, he didn't want to leave his expensive vehicle in a highly visible place where it might attract unwanted attention. When he got out of his car, cold winter wind immediately hit his face hard. Winter winds in Arizona were particularly harsh and unforgiving. He had worn a warm coat, but still shivered from both cold and nervousness. He stood across from the library building and examined it carefully in the dim light. It was classic 1960s architectural style with large glass windows and wide concrete stairs. But now the windows were completely dark and empty, and the stairs were cracked and deteriorating. "This is my last chance," he thought to himself. "I can still turn back now, go home and forget about this entire crazy situation." But his curiosity was absolutely consuming him from the inside. He slowly walked around the entire perimeter of the library building. The front entrance door was securely locked with heavy chains, but on the back side, he discovered a small door that was slightly ajar. It was as if someone had deliberately left it open, expecting him to arrive. This detail made him feel quite uncomfortable and suspicious. What if this really was an elaborate trap designed specifically for him? Back door creaked, damp smell, time capsule inside, empty shelves, dusty tables, broken chairs, footsteps echoed, intense silence. Moonlight through windows, casting shadows. Main hall, former children's section, gone but strangely familiar. Paused, unfamiliar places feeling familiar, different from déjà vu. "Charlie," soft voice behind, heart stopped, turned, figure from shadows, middle-aged, gray-haired, dark coat, academic glasses, sad eyes. "Thanks for coming. Know this difficult. Never saw him. Voice familiar. Who are you? Dr. Marcus Webb, Northwestern psychiatrist, followed you years not to harm. Following disturbing. Have reason. Tried helping you then. Surprised. Which time? Things you don't know. Time to learn." What that man said shattered Charlie's world. Things you don't know. Time for truth, Webb said firmly. What things? Why mystery? Sensitive. Wrong people hearing endangers you. Family. My family? Everything. You don't know who you are. Stepped back. Course I know. Webb pulled old photograph. Look. Old, yellowed. Young Charlie, 16, didn't recognize others. Group photo, meeting. 3 others next Charlie. Everyone smiling, recognized none. Taken at 16? Chicago, Lincoln Park, don't remember? Stared amazed, didn't remember. Strange. Good memory. Fake? Not fake. Beginning. Different ideas then. Opposite views. Showed newspaper. Young activist climate change. Different Charlie, long hair, environmental badges, Save Planet banner. Supported liberal values, fought climate change, equality campaigns. What caused change? Rehook 4. Won't believe Charlie's truth? Nonsense, never liberal, showed hospital report. Charlie's name, 2010. Accident wasn't accident. Memory erased after. What? Voice barely out. 2010, age 16. Groups thought ideas dangerous. Very influential. Affected adults, not just friends. Charisma, leadership. Ideas didn't fit plans. Knees shook, leaned wall. How not know truth? Impossible. Webb calm, tried helping then. Young psychiatrist, Northwestern. Powerful people wanted change. Who? Not deep state. Opposite forces. Politics not as seems. Conservative forces manipulate liberal youth. You one of them? No, protecting you. Why I'm here. Why waited. Emptiness never felt. Big life part missing. Pre-16 memories blurry, always blamed accident, but now. Fooled family too? Same done family. Memory changed. Think you always conservative. Hands in head. Too much. Prove this? Webb touched shoulder. Only told beginning. Shocking part coming. Haven't heard biggest shock. Charlie took the key with trembling hands. It felt cold and heavy, representing the most important decision of his entire life. Dr. Webb was about to reveal the master plan behind everything. Charlie, if you decide to use this key, the truth you learn will change not only your own life, but potentially all of American politics. Because you. Charlie waited anxiously for the revelation, his heart pounding. You're not just the simple transformation of an ordinary young person. This entire operation was part of a much bigger, more complex plan with far-reaching consequences. You were originally supposed to become a liberal activist exactly as they had planned, but something went terribly wrong, and they turned you completely in the opposite direction. When they transformed your identity, their goal was to create a very powerful conservative leader who could influence millions. But the real master plan was this. One day, when you reached the absolute peak of your influence and power, you would suddenly and dramatically return to liberal views. This massive U-turn would shock and confuse all American conservative youth, pulling them to the liberal side as they followed your example. Charlie's facial expression showed pure shock. He had just learned that his entire life was nothing more than an elaborate experiment and manipulation. But something completely disrupted their carefully laid plans. Your real personality, the soul of the real Charlie Morrison, was so incredibly strong that their programming didn't hold completely. You actually genuinely became conservative instead of just pretending. Your fake identity somehow became your real identity. Dr. Webb continued with the most shocking revelation, and here's the biggest shock of all. The real Charlie Morrison is still living inside you right now. He's been suppressed and put to sleep, but he's not completely dead or gone. What exactly do you mean by that? Don't you sometimes see a completely different life in your dreams? Don't you sometimes feel strange sympathy for liberal ideas that seems to come from nowhere? Don't you sometimes feel as if there are two different people fighting inside your mind? Charlie was genuinely surprised and disturbed. He really did feel exactly like this sometimes, but had never told anyone about these experiences. How could Dr. Webb possibly know about his private thoughts? This is your real personality, the authentic Charlie Morrison trying desperately to return to consciousness. That's your true self, and he wants to wake up and reclaim his life. Charlie put his head in his hands, feeling completely overwhelmed. So what happens now? What am I supposed to do after learning all this information? This is entirely your decision to make, Charlie. But you need to know this. If they realize that you've learned the truth about your identity, they will try to stop you by any means necessary. They might even try to eliminate you completely. Charlie returned home, nothing same anymore. Next day went Oak Street, 247 Oak Street, two-story White House, key fit perfectly. Inside, old photographs, Morrison family, 2005, Charlie's 10th birthday. Upstairs found child's room, liberal posters, environmental books, desk drawer, old diary, first page, my name Charlie Morrison. I'm 16 and going change world. I'll fight liberal values. His handwriting, but didn't remember. Last entry, accident day. If read this again and don't remember, forgive me. I am Charlie Morrison and I will return. Webb told Charlie more shocking things. Secret Center, Phoenix Desert. All Charlie Morrison's memories stored digitally. This serum can bring back real identity. Single injection. Charlie Morrison's memories return, but Charlie Kirk completely disappears. But Charlie, another danger. Those who transformed you implanted microchips in brain. They'll try manually activating or eliminating you. Charlie still can't decide whether to use injection. Has power return real identity, but will he? Questions I'll ask you. After this story, how see Charlie Kirk? Everything he says sincere or programmed. Watch his recent speeches, notice small liberal signs. Does he pause as if experiencing internal conflict? What if story I told real? What if Charlie Kirk really experiencing struggle, two different people inside? One more secret. Charlie Kirk's recent interviews, especially liberal topics, noticed very brief pauses before answering, as if two different answers fighting in head. I've noticed. Pay attention, you'll see too, maybe Charlie Morrison waking up, real identity slowly surfacing, or maybe microchips Webb mentioned starting activate. Continuation, this incredible Charlie Kirk story, Webb's secrets, mysterious injection, microchips truth, all subject upcoming videos here, Kirk Unfiltered. So far this story shocked thousands viewers, comments incredible. What will your reaction be? Who real Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk or Charlie Morrison? Both real, but which wins? We may never fully know answer, but one thing's certain, Charlie Kirk's story much deeper, more complex, more shocking than we thought. This has been Kirk Unfiltered, where we reveal truth behind headlines. Until next time, keep questioning everything